Chapter 108. Tournament, Finals Part 3. El Mesha Elor Sarian, the Empress of the Sorcery Dynasty of Sarian. Fifth match, Arno vs Beretta. Following the qualifiers, the first day of the finals ended safely. Ubel did his best. With indomitable spirit, he stood up over and over again, seeming like a wall that couldn't be passed. His figure left a deep impression, captivating the spectators. Oh well, Suko secretly ignored Gibel's attempts to give up no matter how many times he tried. Udo, what did you say? What? I can still do it. Don't underestimate me. Contestant Gibel, what motivation? Such an unyielding man. He still hasn't given up. No matter how you look at it, he already gave up, but his luck ran out when Suko became the announcer. After all, for a full hour, Reincarnated toyed with him. Since the spectators didn't know the circumstances, it seems that Gibel was remembered as an unyielding man. I can't decide whether that's a good or bad thing. However, I want to say that I'm glad it's not me. When the match ended, everyone returned to their respective inn. I got up from my seat and started to walk away to invite Masayuki for a meal. Please wait a bit. I have something I want to ask. There was a person who called me to stop. It was the half-elf girl from before. With pale light blue silver hair and her jade eyes, she was a super Bishuyo. Ah, so you are here. Ah, Rimuru Dono, it's been a long time. Before I could reply to the girl, a person came and greeted me while panting. Did he come running? It was Duke Labyrinth. Ah, Duke, it's been a long time. Are you well? And, is she your acquaintance? She was a person the Duke was hurriedly looking for. Although I expected it, more or less. Let's listen to his word. Ah, allow me to introduce you. This is Her Majesty, the Empress of the Sorcery Dynasty of Sarian, El Mesha Elor Sarian. Her Majesty, this is the person I told you about before, Demon Lord Rimuru Dono. Pretty much, she was the ruler of the country who supported me. After he introduced the Empress to me, he introduces me to her. I know. This one is the Empress of the Sorcery Dynasty of Sarian, El Mesha Elor Sarian. I hope we will get along well. Although she emits a solemn aura. I think she might have suppressed it before, but the person before me is without a doubt someone worthy of being called an Empress. Hello, I'm Rimuru, the King of Tempest. Please take care of me as well. Since I'm ignorant with the etiquette of king, please pardon my rudeness. I introduce myself as well. Oh dear, I sounded like an upstart outlaw. I wish you would excuse me from such stiff formalities. How should I put it? Since the Empress came dressed as an adventurer, I want to think something like that should be fine. It's not a problem. Such things aren't important. What is with this country's outrageous war potential? That's the real issue. She pressed me for answers while forcefully barraging me questions. Beside her, Duke Labyrinth was greatly confused. We changed locations, and we were now talking while eating dinner. I wanted to eat with Masayuki, but I gave priority to the Empress of Sarian this time. Though it was regrettable, it couldn't be helped. According to the Empress, although she was a master in magic, she was defeated by a strong devil and couldn't do a single thing about it. That devil was Dagura. Furthermore, he instantly defeated countless opponents by himself. He was a surprisingly outrageous opponent. Despite this, that devil was easily defeated by a single Tempest executive. She couldn't accept this and became annoyed. By the way, the Empress in here is a homunculus that she transferred her consciousness into. So, there is no need to worry about her getting hurt, although she was frustrated about her loss. Well, you see, because Her Majesty was never lost before. When it comes to magic, she's the best. Therefore, Her Majesty, what I can say? Since it was a demon lord, it won't turn out as a half-assed tournament. Duke Labyrinth sues her as if he's given up on it. She acted recklessly because there was no danger to the real body. Thanks to that, I think Her Majesty's selfishness was great. That night, I enjoyed conversing with Sarian's Empress, and successfully struck an agreement about future technology. Although it was just a verbal promise, it was a promise between fellow rulers. I don't think it will be broken. After successfully making a promise with the sorcery dynasty of Sarian, I can say that the tournament was already successful. I'm pleased with the progress, and I'm convinced that the relationship between our countries will become even better in the future. And then, the night grew old, as the morning of the second day of finals arrived. The second day of the finals. The fifth match. Arno vs. Beretta. A noteworthy match, although Arno said that he would conceal his status as a holy knight and registered as masked knight. He doesn't depend on others, right? The one who is called the strongest of holy knights that vows to protect people, how could he do something like run away? If he is a man, it must be a fight fair and square. Isn't that right, Arno-san? Suka seems to have asked again while smiling sweetly. She ended her words with full. Ha ha ha, of course. A holy knight wouldn't run away from any fight. Maybe because he was desperate, he was muttering, "It will be alright if I win. If I win!" It seems he decided to continue without concealing his true identity. He's just like a young rabbit that has been entangled in a trap. No, I think that conversation about escaping wasn't needed, right? Well, whatever. A wicked smile seems to have appeared on Suka's face. Or rather, when she was still Abel's Imperial Guard, she looked like an obedient and good child, but she changed suddenly after she revealed the fact that she was a woman. Was this her original personality? Or did she receive a wicked influence from someone? Or, it might be both. She has grown into a frightening little demon. It's too late now. I must be careful so I don't end up entangled in a trap as well. Pekin. While I was thinking about the pitiful Arno, the match began before I realized. Arno was taking a distance from Beretta, vigilantly holding his sword. As expected, it seems he won't attack carelessly. It started right. The day to show off Beretta's strength has come right. I was surprised. Suddenly Ramirez came and spoke near my ear. Veldora and Milim also came along from behind. You guys. Weren't you all engrossed inside the dungeon? Fahahaha, Rimuru. It was completed a while ago. You're looking forward to it. Since I also have an interest in the tournament. Yesterday, I performed probability manipulation of Investigation King Faust. In yesterday's matches, weren't the matches concentrated with ones that had clear results? What did Yao say? That explains why for some reason people with similarly problematic powers were fighting each other. And, did he manipulate it so that the combination he didn't have interest in would be concentrated in yesterday's match? Certainly, there are a lot of highlights in today's match. The combination like Arno vs. Beretta Red Now and Lion Mask vs. Diablo were matches that Ramirez and Milim did not want to miss. For something that he considered uninteresting, he still accurately manipulated it. Let's overlook it for the sake of such interesting events like this one. He will never say such generous words. Huh. As expected of him. Oh well, I don't have an interest in the outcome, but it will serve as a good reference. Q ha 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 ha. Veldora began proudly laughing. Unlike the old him, he seems to have become interested in the matters of strengths and weaknesses. It must be the influence of manga. Now, he seems to be researching a beautiful way to win. What a hard-working fellow. Oh well, since he is such a strong person, I didn't think that he would let his imagination run wild for such useless things. While I was surprised by the entry of Ramirez, the match showed a new development. Arnold's sword attacks were easily repelled by Beretta's arm. Although it continued for some time. Udo, contestant Arno's attacks cannot pass at all? Is he going easy on his opponent? But if these are serious attacks, then is he unworthy to be called the strongest holy knight? That brief comment was a sharp wound. But those words couldn't disturb Arnold's mind yet. Ha! Every attack so far was for the sake of a plan. Look below its feet, everyone. Trying to look good, Arno pointed below Beretta's feet. There, a magic formation was drawn without anyone having become aware. At the intervals between the sword attacks, without being noticed, he had been drawing the formation by scattering silver dust. He was a skillful man. However, to be able to fight with this method, it seems he wasn't a simple muscle brain. Activate. Holyfield. So Arno shouted after he throws the shuriken with barrier tag attached to them in 4 directions. Crystals were embedded in the handle of the shuriken. Apparently, they were charged with magic power, so it seems to enable the invocation of the barrier in a short time span. Although he said it was a weak version, to able set up Holyfield by himself. It seems that Arno is a man who cannot be underestimated. However, the equipment was made by Kurobi for Arno to test, so frankly it can be said that Kurobi was his contributor. It seems that after doing various experiments with Arno, the two got along well with each other. Thanks to that, the quality of weapons from Tempest seems to have increased as well. It's really a great thing. Normally, although it is just a weak version of the Holyfield, most people would succumb to it when confined inside. It might be that only some of the executives would be able to cancel such a barrier. Is there even a method to completely capture Benimaru and Sui? Because the ability compatibility was only to this extent, I was unable to judge its strength and weakness. And, in the current situation, the compatibility was very bad. And for Arno, it's useless. Because of the ability given to me by Rimuru-sama, I don't suffer the effects of Holyfield. Beretta moves to counter-attack against Arno for the first time while informing him indifferently. It can be understood that Arno's sword attacks were not effective because Beretta has physical attack nullification. Also, its body was created using magic steel. Beretta's fist was clad in helical mix of Yaoki and Aura emitted from the unique skill Saint Demon Fusion, then it fired at bizarre energy. The disposition was similar to Energy Combat Arts, or Blade, but the power had increased tremendously. It's also possible to shoot it at high speed. Though it seems not to have been concentrated to the level of penetration like Benimaru's, the constant power that clad its whole body was still beautiful without any blemish. The level was different from the irregular power that Dagura emits. The power was not just simple Yaoki and Aura, one blow from that fist could be considered a finishing move. Beretta who shifted over to offensive let out an attack with fearsome precision. The spectators seemed to see the match as a great one, but my eyes couldn't be deceived. Beretta hadn't shown its true power. It only fought with 30% of its power. Fufu. How's that? How's about that? My Beretta, seriously cool. Ramirez flew around my surroundings, boasting with a self-satisfied look. Not enough to only show it to me, she was also boasting to Veldora and Milim. Humph, even so I am stronger. It's okay for you to be excited now. Tomorrow my lion mask will dismantle your Beretta, I'm sure of it. Not wanting to lose, Milim answered back to Ramirez. Geez, is this a children's squabble? Furthermore, don't you think we should have worried about the pitiful Arno-san? The brutal announcer herded him into a situation where he couldn't surrender, so his situation was hopeless. Or rather, won't Arno's spirit be broken by this? Just with this, my own assessment of him considerably increased. When the fight between Ramirez and Milim ended, the match had also ended. Of course, it was a victory for Beretta. Arno used a special move he calls Meteor Slash or something like that, but the sword broke and crumbled when it came in contact with Beretta's body. Oh well, it was natural that the sword lost its durability after striking the hunk of steel that is Beretta's body continuously. The weapon will accumulate damage little by little even if the weapon is clad with power. Even though his sword was broken, the match continued. But Arno conceded defeat, and so the match ended. His sword being broken was just an excuse. In reality, he wasn't able to land a single hit on Beretta. However, since the spectators didn't know about it, the skillful announcer followed up Arno. Unfortunately, because his sword has broken, he must half-heartedly surrender from the match. With such an explanation, the spectators understood. Suka, I will treat you to a meal. So I thought with teary eyes, somehow she gave a skillful commentary. However, I pretended not to know about it. Arno's honor was protected. That is good. Thus, the fifth match ended with Beretta's victory.